Next chapter, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. The book autobiography of Nelson Mandela is Long Walk to Freedom. Certainly, it is a long walk to freedom because it took 30 decades of his imprisonment to get the real freedom which he desired. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela is his full name, and the word which we come to know from South Africa is apartheid. Apartheid is a political system that separates or segregates the people according to their race: black, white, brown, the community wise. Can you say which of the three countries named below had such political system until very recently? United States of America, South Africa, or Australia? Certainly it's South Africa. Have you heard of Nelson Mandela? Certainly you all might have heard of him in the world history. Mandela and his African National Congress spent lifetime fighting against apartheid. Mandela had spent 30 years in prison. Finally, democratic elections were held in South Africa in 1994, and Mandela became the first president of new nation. In this extract, what is extract? A piece from his autobiography. His autobiography is very big, thick, and from that autobiography, this chapter is an extract from it, a piece from it. A Long Walk to Freedom. Mandela speaks about historic occasion. What is this historic occasion? Inauguration, opening ceremony like Independence Day. Can you guess what occasion might be? Check your guess with a news item from BBC of 10th May 1994. Now this is a clipping or a snippet from newspaper, and you will now come to know that how a newspaper report is written. Mandela becomes South Africa's first black president. Nelson Mandela has become South Africa's first black president after more than 3 centuries of the white rule. Mr. Mandela's African National Congress, ANC party, won 250 of the 400 seats in the first democratic elections of South Africa's history. The inauguration ceremony took place in the Union Building Amphitheatre of Pretoria today, attended by politicians, dignitaries from more than 140 countries around the world. Never, never again will this beautiful land experience the oppression of one by another, said Nelson Mandela in his address. When he was giving his speech, that is called address, he said, never, never again will this beautiful land will experience oppression. That means torture of one person by another. He promises his countrymen that he will give equality to everybody. Jubilant scene on the streets of Pretoria followed the ceremony with blacks, whites, colored, celebrating together. More than 1 lakh is it? South African men, women, and children of all the race sang and danced with joy. 10th May dawn bright and clear. The morning dawn came out. For the past few days, I had been pleasantly besieged by dignitaries. Besieged means surrounded by the world leaders who were coming to pay their respect before inauguration. Everybody in the world was celebrating, and so many leaders all around the world, they came to congratulate him. The inauguration would be the largest gathering ever of international leaders of South African soil. On South African soil, the ceremonies took place in the lovely sandstone amphitheatre formed by Union Buildings of Pretoria. From the decades, this land had been seat of the white supremacy. From decades, hundreds, like last 10 years and many decades passed by, that land be supervised or dominated by whites. Now it was the site of rainbow gathering of different colors, nations for the installation of South African first democratic non-racial government. Installation is beginning, setting up of non-racial. They will not discriminate, raceless, no discrimination of people. On the lovely autumn day, I was accompanied by my daughter Janani on the podium. Podium is a platform, or you might have seen when it is kept during the assembly. Mr. D. Clark was the first sworn in as the second deputy president, and then you can see his picture. Then Tambo Mamki was sworn as the first deputy president. When it was my turn, I pledged to obey and uphold the Constitution, to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and its people. So oath-taking ceremony, you have to make promises and you have to keep those promises. To the assembled guest and watching world, I said, today all of us do, by our presence here, confer to give glory and hope to the newborn liberty. What he gives? Glory and hope to newborn, grand opening and hope, newborn freedom out of the experience of an extraordinary human disaster. Now, extraordinary human disaster, he calls apartheid or racialism or racism as an extraordinary human disaster that has lasted too long. Must be born a society of which all humanity will be proud. We who were outlaws not so long ago, now that because of its policy of apartheid, many countries had earlier broken off diplomatic relations with South Africa. Outlaws, they were boycotted by the other part of the world, have today been given a rare privilege to be host to the nations of the world on our own soil. So he feels proud that we have privilege. We have invited the people who boycotted us from long time. They have outlawed us. Now they are on our soil celebrating with us, celebration of justice, peace and human dignity. We'll read that. We thank all of our distinguished international guests for having come to take possession with the people of our country of what is, after all, a common victory of justice, peace and human dignity. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. Emancipation is freedom again, another synonym of freedom from restriction. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender and other discrimination. Deprivation as well as discrimination, bondage of poverty, it should be abolished now. Total emancipation from these traditional taboos in the country. Never and never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. Now this is the major line he spoke, that nobody will be suppressed on this land again. The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. So he is considering as a human achievement, a grand and glorious and beautiful achievement. Let the freedom reign. God bless Africa. Now he's let the freedom reign is rule, and God bless the country. Now next we'll read in the next video.